Thank you. I decided to bring this up with me because I actually don't have a cheat sheet. I don't have bullet points. I don't have slides, and I've never done this before. So I just thought I'd use this as maybe a little prop. So thank you all for letting me spend some time with you this evening. Once again, my name is Chrystal Cantrell. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and for me what that means is that I started my recovery journey back in 2005, and it started with abstinence, so I haven't had a drink or a drug since then, but it also gave me the power to work through those childhood traumas that were talked about, to learn how to have value in myself and that I was worth continuing to be a part of a community and all those things that came along with it. So I'd like to do a quick exercise. Can I have everyone stand up, please? Is there anyone here in this room that has struggled with substance use disorder, mental health, homelessness, and they are considering themselves now to be in recovery? If so, please sit down. Is there anyone who has a family member who has struggled with substance use, homelessness, mental health, and they're in recovery now? Please sit down. Is there anyone who has a family member right now that may still be struggling with substance use, mental health, or homelessness issues? Please sit down. Is there anyone who considers themselves to be an ally, where maybe you just have some acquaintances, maybe not really, really close like a family member, but acquaintances that you know that struggle with substance use, mental health, homelessness? Please sit down. If there were actually anyone still standing, what I would have said is, congratulations. If you don't know anyone at all that's struggling with these issues, it must be some kind of a miracle, because it does affect us all in some way or the other. Maybe you've turned a blind eye to it. Maybe you just are not thinking about who that might be. And so I would ask them, are you at least a member of a community? And then I would hope that they would sit down. So anyhow, congratulations to all of you. You have just claimed your seat as being part of a community. And that's only just talking about recovery. So what I'm here to talk to you a little bit about today is what's called a recovery-oriented system of care. And I know we heard a little bit about those. And like Megan had said, yes, there have been systems of care that are just that in word. Maybe there's funding that comes through, you write up a couple of proposals, some stuff that looks good on paper, and that's it. Are you walking the walk? So basically, a recovery-oriented system of care is kind of a version of a community with respect to that everyone has the right to sit at that community table. We all know that while some of us here are in education, some are social workers, some are just people with lived experience, we all know that you guys play a role in your family life, to yourself, to your extended family, and in the community, and things of that nature. So basically, and forgive me, because believe it or not, even though I talk a lot, I am very nervous. So there's a thing called continuum of care. So we do need prevention so that we can start very young with those things that children are being affected by, because one day they're going to be your community members as well when you're older. So we need prevention, we need treatment, we need detox, we need outpatient. However, we also need recovery supports. We need community events and things of that nature. Everybody falls somewhere in that line, and the family members play that part as the day-to-day things that, you know, that connection. So we know today that the opposite of addiction is not actually abstinence or sobriety, but connection. So let's use just a little example here for a minute. So someone that's using substances, you know, it gets worse, they've lost their job, they've lost their family, they've burned their bridges, but like Dan said, they get that, they meet somebody that gives them that moment of hope, or that moment of maybe I can try to get into recovery. So they go to a treatment center. They get to the treatment center, they're in their safe space, they do their 28 days, they get ready, they leave, they come out, they go to their family's house. Hey, guess what? I just left treatment and like life is gonna be good now. And the family member says, no, you're not welcome here. I can't trust you. You've been there before. You've said this before. I really just can't trust you. And so the door's been closed in their face. Then they're like, aha, maybe I'll just go try to get a job and then I'll get my own money and I can get my place. And so then they go there, fill out a few applications. Oh, you have a felony? I'm sorry, I can't really hire you. Oh, I used to see you sleeping on the street and shooting drugs. I'm not sure I can take a chance with you. I'm sorry. And so now they're down on their luck. Maybe it's getting a little cold outside. Maybe they do end up sleeping on that park bench a couple of nights. But then maybe they say, aha, it's just a little too cold out here. I know where I can go. And they go to the dope house. And they'll let me in. Eventually they use again. And they start that whole cycle all over again. And you know, for some people, maybe they say, maybe I'll go to treatment again one day, but you know, now that I've used again and I'm feeling ashamed that I couldn't succeed after I got out of treatment, so there really isn't no hope. Maybe they die that way and that's the end of the story and they're just another statistic and more data. But what if we could envision it this way? What if we did discuss the stigma that Dan talked about? And let's face it, we probably all know someone who is that person. You know, a lot of times I remember being called those people. If those people would just quit, everything would be okay. Boy, do I wish it was just that easy to just quit. You know, or if they would just this, or let's face it, while we do know that some funding comes from the government, we can't trust the government to keep our communities together. We have to do it ourselves. We have to contribute. Money only goes so far. Like the mayor said, you know, people are getting outvoted. Substance use the funding was decreased by 22%, which is going to affect a lot of us in this room's budgets, and people and lives are going to be affected, and how we help people is going to be affected. But anyhow, so what if we envision that person actually having hope, going into treatment? This time, maybe they use medicated assisted treatment because that was something they didn't try before. Maybe they don't. Maybe then their counselor says, I'm going to get you on the outpatient list, but I'm also going to refer you to Take Action Today. They have these really good recovery support services, and I think that could help you once you get outside of these safe walls. They start working with their peer recovery specialist. The peer specialist meets them where they're at. How can I help you? What do you want to work on next? And they say, well, aren't you just going to tell me what to do? No, this is your life. This is your recovery. Let's find what works for you. You've got this imaginary tool bag. So now they've got the treatment in their bag that they've done and what they've learned there. Then they've also got their peer support. Peer support also says, hey, there's multiple pathways. You know, if you're not into the 12-step thing, why don't you try a SMART recovery meeting? We actually have groups right here in this building. Maybe we can schedule your appointment so that you could just do the meeting right away after that. So now we've got more things in the tool bag and more things. So then he goes to that employer who is now, if you haven't heard yet, it's coming down the pipes, a recovery-friendly workplace. And which basically says, I'm willing to give that person who's working on trying to be a better person and not be that same old man, you know, and let me give them a chance and give them a job. So now the family member sees this, and the family member says, wow, they're really trying this time. Let's just I'm not sure yet if I want them in my house, but maybe we can go to dinner and kind of see what they've been doing, why they're so different, and actually like starting to look better. So then the family member lets them back in their life, maybe a little at a time, and they see they've got these tools now that are available. Also, something that Megan shared, while we are just a small community here, maybe most of you are from, like, say, Franklin County, Williamson County, and maybe the TAT service area. We also created, a guy named John Wright, Mike Tyson, and myself had this idea a couple of years ago that said, what if we just got everybody that works in recovery in some capacity to just fill in these gaps and get all of those people together, like Megan said, and collaborate and call it the Southern Illinois Recovery Network. And this way, we can work with Megan, we can work with Katie, we can work with Dan, we can work with Misty. Let's see what they're doing and what's working, it's not working, or what's not working, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But if someone's already doing that, maybe we work on this because nobody's doing this yet. What a grand idea, right? And like I said, each person that spoke tonight pretty much was like little pieces of everything that, like, we are all, even though the concepts are slightly different, we are all on, well, unified, we're on the same path, really, even though we all took a different approach. So I'm also just here to tell you that a recovery-oriented system of care, a lot of counties down here in Southern Illinois do have one now. Some have recovery community organizations like Take Action Today, but recovery-oriented systems of care just take everybody from that community. You all deserve a seat at that table, and one person can make a difference. You know how I know this? Because Mike Tyson was one person with a vision, and God has chosen to grow this organization. Sure, we've had a lot of struggles. You know, I have strengths, I have shortcomings, just like everyone else, but we're learning and growing together. Without the support of the community, we wouldn't have been here. We might have lost hope even in recovery, like, see, nobody really wants us here. We might as well just not do this. But no, we got the resiliency that Dan was talking about because we've been empowered. We have that hope. And like Dan also said, spiritual angle. I don't mean religion. I mean a spiritual angle. I mean whatever it is that works with you, that connects with you. I'm getting spiritual chills right now just talking about it. But for me, that was definitely a difference maker. And so whether you are in education, you work in a treatment setting, maybe you're just the mom and pop grocery store, maybe you're the coffee shop owners, you know, maybe you're a nurse. No matter where it is, what your role is in your community, you are still first and foremost a community member. And so with that being said, all of you can, if you're interested, claim your recovery-oriented system of care seat as well. What we are working on is we have a Franklin Williamson Council and we have a Perry Jackson Council. And if anybody wants to learn more about that, I've got my business cards with me. And basically, you can have your seat at that table and have your voice heard. It does make a difference, and we do listen because there's a momentum in Southern Illinois that I have not seen since I moved here in 2014, where people are unifying. They're not saying, oh, you're from Franklin and I'm from Williamson, so we're not working together. Sure, there are those silos. We know who they are. But if we all join together, they are either going to be forced to unify with us and make our communities better. And if not, we just leave them where they're at. And we all continue to grow and save that person's mother, that person's son, that person's uncle, and whoever it may be. And like I said, I do believe that if you guys want to be a part of this, I do believe that your voices, like I said, some people work during the day. We have a meeting once a month. If you can't make it to that meeting, we can send you the meeting minutes. We can tell you about events that are going on, not just here, maybe down where Megan is at, you know, and the rest of our people in our group that work in other counties. We can tell you how you can best support. Maybe you have no time at all, but you'd like to cut a check, you know, to somebody and say, I can't really be at your outreach because I'm going on vacation that week, but here's a couple of dollars because we know most of your grants don't buy food or drink, so go ahead and fill that gap in and let everybody come and have a good time. I mean, and so basically I'm going to wrap up with this. I did pretty good at staying on topic, and I thank you guys for bearing with me being nervous. I didn't pace as much as I thought, but I had a decaf. Thank you for having decaf. But thank you all, and God bless you, and just know that recovery is possible.